In this episode, the hosts delve into the complexities of masculinity and societal expectations, exploring how traditional gender roles can create burdens and struggles for men. They discuss the importance of mindfulness and self-awareness in navigating the identification of being a man or woman and the evolving dynamics of family life. In this conversation, the speakers explore the evolving definitions of masculinity, the importance of emotional presence in family roles, and the impact of societal expectations on personal identity. They discuss how traditional metrics of success may not align with true fulfillment and the necessity of mindfulness in navigating changing family dynamics. The dialogue emphasized the importance of being aware of one's roles and the potential suffering that can arise from rigidly adhering to societal labels.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Universal Lens. I just drew that right on you like that.
I'm John Emilio.
And I'm Henry Beltra.
With no headset.
Oh, crap.
See?
Should we start it again or just run with it?
No, run with it.
Look at that. Without our headsets, we started the show.
People want to know what happens behind the scenes.
That's what happens.
BTS.
Us talking shit and we forgot to put our headphones on. Not that we can't hear ourselves without them, but whatever.
Yeah, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's just better so we can make sure the audio is good.
That's it. But because if the audio is not good, we won't know about it because we don't have this on.
We wouldn't have the headsets on. I'm sure you all care about that. Anyway, thanks everybody for coming back. Like he said, he's John Emilio and I'm Henry Beltra.
I'm getting better.
Hope this show finds everybody well. Hope a show finds everybody healthy and in a good space. If not, it's okay. You can work on it.
That's a good one. It's okay.
As my license plates are going to say, are you okay?
That's
if you see a gray Dodge Ram driving around with license plates that say, are you okay? With a yin and yang bumper hitch cover, that's me. Just wave and beep, beep, say hi.
Don't answer the...
don't come running up to the car, knock on the window and go, I'm not okay. Yeah. I don't know if I could do much at the stoplight. I'm just asking that question. Yeah. So, what's on the agenda for today? We were debating this. We're coming up on 100 episodes. So I think we've done pretty well to this point in having a topic to speak about every week.
And we will never, I'll tell you this, we'll never run out of content because we're living life.
No, but content does get recycled. So here's something. I was at the gym, not listening to Eckhart Tolle. Imagine that. I was actually listening to workout music this time. What? Like,
I'm going to tell Eckhart.
Anyway. And there's a young man, I'm not going to say anybody's name. I don't know. He didn't listen to the show anyway because he doesn't know I do a show. But I was talking with Anthony and this other kid, and it came up. He's nice young kid. Started out with tennis elbow issues he was having, right? So why not talk to two older guys who deal with body aches constantly?
Body ache, elbow,
body, knee, head, back, everything. Fucking hurts. But we show up for the gym anyway. Anyway, so we started talking about like that, and that's how the conversation started. We got to know the kid. And he got deeper with Anthony one day talking about some personal life stuff. And they were talking and him and Anthony I was kind of playing the listener and him and Anthony were going back and forth. And it came up that, about this whole, the kid's kind of dealing with stuff and getting his life going and, being the man of the family and how to support the family. Nice young kid. He's probably like 30 years old, right? Him, his fiance, he has a couple of kids, I think. And like what that's all about. So, me and Anthony tried to give him a little bit of whatever advice you could give somebody. Advice. But in those few minutes, what can you say? Like I'll try to say something that'll spark something, but it's even difficult like in that setting either. So whatever, we said whatever.
Yeah, you're there to work out.
Yeah, but anyway, I always try to, if somebody does have a question, I'll entertain it. So we gave him a little bit of a conversation and then we left. But on the way home, I'm sitting in my car and I'm driving and I'm thinking, what does it mean to be a man?
Interesting.
I could tell you, or what does it mean to be a woman nowadays, right? Not going where you thought I was going.
I didn't say a word.
Okay.
I didn't say a word.
Mean? And I'm thinking.
I didn't say a cisgendered word.
I'm thinking here, okay, what does it mean to be a man? And now here comes the the stereotypical societal answer, right? A man supports the family. A man's supposed to do this. A man should be the protector, the supporter,
the classic role.
alpha leader of the family, role of the family, blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's great. What does it mean? So then my mind said, well, what does it mean to be a woman? Woman means to be the caregiver of the family, the nurturer, right? That motherly matriarch, the one who takes care of the household, the children. One is the yin and one is the yang, right? I'm like, all right. But when do those descriptions and when do those definitions or those stereotypes that we've given them, when do they cause that person to suffer? So when does that definition cause, and I'll say a man because I'm a man, so I can speak from the male point of view. When does that definition of this is what it means to be a man cause me to suffer? When does that definition cause me to feel an attachment to must, should, have to, which becomes heavy, laden, becomes, a struggle when we identify with that label? And we've kind of touched on this before. So if I'm going to go through life and I'm going to say, and I thought about it because this young kid looked like he was kind of struggling with that a little bit, right? And some of the advice some of the things we were kind of talking about were kind of leading that. And as it was being said, I'm kind of listening into hearing it. I'm like, okay, it's sound advice in the moment for a kid. It really is, because you want to give a direction, a North Star. But then my mind went further after we were done. And I'm like, well, this could really, how can this hinder a person more than it could help them to have that identity or that stereotype or that I must be the man, I must be this. You don't have to be anything. So now you play the role. This is where I'm trying to get to. We play the role. So you could play the role in the family of a support, of the guy who goes to work to support. But when you feel like you must, you have to, you should, all of a sudden that becomes much heavier. And now that identity starts to say, but we must do this. We have to do this. We must be like this. Even if maybe something inside of you is not aligned with it completely, but you're saying I have to because society says as a man, this is how I must act. How many people do you know in your life that have absolutely gone head in with that, identified with it? This is this is what I have to be, and how it's caused them more probably struggle, even if they don't admit it, more struggle and more tension in their life, more stress in their life than anything else, because they need to be that. It's now I'm not playing the role of, and I can be very successful, by the way, of playing the role of the father in a family, the husband in a relationship, right? But when does that need to be that man, that male, stereotypical male person in the family? When does that need, and I use the word need, right? Very provocatively. When that need to be that man, when does it cause you more pain? When is it more of a detriment than it is a help, right?
If the question is for me, the moment you consider it a need, because it's not a need, it's just a thing. It's two people working, synergistically to
I like that.
to make a family, to live a healthy life, to live the best life you can lead, and doing the best you can, and doing, because if the minute you add need or must is when you put this fake barrier that if you don't hit,
It's a failure.
So I don't know if we're umbilically linked, but so yeah, it's not the first time we say this. We say this all the time. We had this.
Yeah, we're related somewhere. We just don't know it yet.
We don't have an umbilical cord. We have an invisible cord.
Invisible cord.
So I think back of so I've had troubles with this very thing.
Oh yeah, so have I. Absolutely.
Because as you know, I stumbled in my career, and when I stumbled, I would just think back of what I did.
This is great. Yeah, go. Yeah.
And so part of my deep fall was because the structures were crumbled because I no longer brought home the bacon. I didn't, because I stumbled. So
Okay.
I had two ways. I could continue to bury myself in, what is it? When you're defeated, when you're
Self-defeat or
right. I mean, and even to today, I'm like, wait a minute. Do a quick. I would say do the balance sheet. There were years where my wife didn't have to go to work. You had great years. She was able to raise the family. And then life happens. Something happened
absolutely.
with my work. Well, now she's got to go to work, because otherwise we're not going to make it. And she became, first of all, she's a hero. She's a superhero. She does incredible, like a lot. But if I let that mental structure define me, I wouldn't be functioning right now. I wouldn't be functioning. I would be a complete failure in my eyes. And I'm thinking that everybody else is thinking you're a failure.
Same thing, right? Yeah.
So I only realized that because I have this awareness. Just like we were talking before the show, I only realize certain things because I have this awareness.
Yeah, you see it as it's happening.
And I'm telling you, it's a superpower that I always say it is a superpower. But I have no problem sharing some parts of my life, and that's a part of my life that where even till today I'm still trying to get my footing. I left my old career. I mean, how many people leave their career? It's what it's what you're safe in. You almost rather, 9 out of 10 stick with what you know than start something fresh. I started something fresh at 40 something. I said, screw it. It's a transition period. It's not easy, but if you're able to put aside the stereotypes, the stigmas, the I have to, you're going to have an easier ride, and you're probably going to recover the fumble, for lack of a better word, quicker than if you just sit there going, what? I can't believe. Because you still have to go to work the next day anyway. You still have to do what you have to do there anyway. So do it with a fresher mind than, can't believe. It's embarrassing, honestly.
It can. No, it could be very detrimental to get stuck in that mindset when you feel as a man, and we use the example of a man because we're both guys, of that failure, of that I have failed. I have not been able to succeed as a man. And honestly, that's the main problem. Not that a man, as a male man in this society, there isn't certain tasks that you can do that we're tasked to do. Fine, that's great, right? And I know things have changed a little bit nowadays. Women are definitely way more involved. Not a little bit. They're way more involved in the workforce than they used to be. Right nowadays, most families are 2-income families. Most families both work, husband and wife. Where years ago it wasn't like that. Right. So maybe that has changed. Maybe a younger generation, they don't see it that way as much because as
by default, they're going to work.
By default, everybody's, both families are working and then they have kids. I don't know. Everybody's situation is different. But if there is even a younger person who gets into that situation and they feel like, well, this is the way I have to be. This is what I have to do. This is the way I should be as a man. There are great aspects of being that man, right? You be a role model for your kids. Phenomenal. That's great. You could be that role model for your children, right? You could play that role. Be that role model. You could be a provider if you have a job. You have a good job. Great, be that provider. But they're not check marks to the character of the kind of person that you are, right? I know a lot of men who aren't the most successful guys in the world, but they're the best fathers in the world, right?
I hope you're looking at one.
Who are? Yes, I mean you're a great dad. I'm not, and you are.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say.
I think I'm a better dad than I am a success. that but my own measuring stick.
But there are dads who does. It's not what you earn that makes you a great man. That's what I'm trying to say.
100%.
A lot of people I see get stuck in that, and the mentality is, I need to work, I need to do this, I need to be like this, I need to be the provider, I need to do this, blah blah. And there's anger there, then there's frustration there, then there's angst there. There's so much negative emotion and negative feelings that come with that if things don't work out for you. On the opposite, if they do, you have a super inflated ego and you think you're a fucking god. You walk around thinking, I'm the man. Without me, this family wouldn't work.
I've been on both
Okay.
ends of those extremes.
Exactly. But so even let's take the other end of the extreme where you think you're this prototypical successful alpha male man. And your mind's telling you all my was this, and I'm the best, and I'm great, and I make all the money in the family, and I'm doing. Time out a second. Like that's not healthy either. It's not. You could be proud of your achievements, sure. You could be happy what you've accomplished, absolutely. Nobody's taking that away from you if you are that guy. Perfect. But walking, and I'm not saying all guys are like this, but for the men out there who struggle with this, check yourself a little bit. Is that mentality beneficial to you at all? You could still be that role model of a father. You could play the role of that male that the family, to a certain extent, it requires, a family structure. The prototypical family structure is, husband, wife. So you need a father, mother. Okay. And I know, unfortunately, a lot of women today are single mothers, so they play a dual role sometimes. Sure. They play the father and the mother in the family.
And there's been single fathers.
And there's been single fathers also who play both roles in the family. Yeah. So, like, being a man is like we were saying before, is for me, it's just, it's a label.
Yeah.
There's a label to it. I don't care what the label says I must be. My situation will dictate certain things. It needs me to go to work to support my family. I play that role. It needs me to support my kids in other ways. I play that role. It needs me to support my wife in certain ways. I play that role. When I say play that role, I don't mean like I play that role. Right. Like
You're not faking.
I'm not faking. Right. No. I take on that role, but I don't attach to that role. Because if something in that role goes awry, my wife cheats on me, right? My kids, even to my best of advice or the best parenting I could try to do, one of my kids do something, go down the wrong path.
Right.
Am I a failure? Now now I'm a failure as a man. I'm a failure as a father. I'm a failure. That measuring stick, if you're a failure or not, really is your own measuring stick. I don't think there is no measuring stick. You measure that stick. You'll know if I did what I could do to the best of my ability to play that role. That's all I could have done. I can't control everything else. I just hate to see when, especially with younger people, when they take that burden on. I have to be like this. I'm like, wow. You could choose to be like that, but you don't have to be like that. You could choose to be a great father. You could choose to be a great husband. You could choose to be a great provider, or you could choose to be the best provider you could possibly be. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to be any of those things. And I'll get, if I had this conversation with a handful of people, I can guarantee you I would get probably blasted against the wall. No. As a father, as a man, you have to do it. Hell or high water. How about I could accomplish that without the hell or high water part of it? Meaning there's an ease to it. And that's why I'm kind of trying there could be an ease to playing the role of father in a family without adding the pressure of what society says you must accomplish and you must do. So I could be the best provider I could be without needing to put 100 pounds of extra weight on top that does not need to be there because, by the way, there's no benefit. In other words, that label does not benefit you. That label does not motivate you. What motivates you in that situation is your children to go out and try to earn for them, is your wife to go out and try to provide for her, right? Or whoever else is in your family structure. And that's your motivation is my love and my value for the family. I'm going to do the best I can. Right. Not because society says I must and I have to and I should, because when we do that, now we're adding bricks on top of ourselves and we start to sink and smother. And that's why you have a lot of men who suffer in silence. You have a lot of men who don't talk about their feelings, don't talk about things they're dealing with because they feel that I'm a man. I can't say it. I can't speak. I can't talk. And that's all bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. You can choose to speak to somebody. You can choose to have a conversation with your wife about something. You can choose anything that you want, but it has to be because it's something that you value and you care about. And when you're doing those things, if you value and care about them, there's an ease to it. Even if it's a difficult thing, even if it's a struggle at work, like a physical struggle, like you have to get up early, long days, fine. Like that's a choice you're making, but you're doing it You're not doing it with the I must succeed. You're doing it with I'm doing it because I care about my family. Look how those are different. I'm doing it because I care about my family. I must succeed. I have to be a man. I have to be like one just feels so heavy. The other one feels lighter. Both days at work might suck to a certain. I mean, there is a suck to work, I guess. Right? There's a part of it that the grind that they call it, right? Whatever. But even that, you could mindfully approach it. But there is the things you're gonna have to do, days, hours, commutes. And we talked about this a few weeks ago with the commuting and stuff. But you could choose to do it with ease, or you could choose to do it with that angst in there. So like it's why when I don't know why when we were talking to this kid, I saw it and I kind of looked in his eyes. I'm like, I don't want to give this kid the wrong. I want to make sure I'm not putting a brick on top of what I say. I was trying to be very careful with the words I use because I don't want to put a brick and bricks and bricks on top of him and let him walk out thinking that like, because we tend to revert to familiar language when we speak on a dime. Sometimes when you put on a spot and you don't have a chance to curate the proper terminology, right? What do you refer to? You react. Dude, come on, being the guy, you could do it. It's our responsibility. Like it's like a hoorah speech, like Marine, hoorah, go for it. We think that's helpful, but I after I left, I was like, okay, but is it? And that's why I kind of stuck in my head. Is that really helpful? Even for a woman, right? Go for a woman. Like, I have to take care of the kids. I have to make sure the house is clean. I have to make sure because I'm a woman, it's my responsibility to take care of the house when my husband is gone at work. I have to do. Why are you taking care of the house? Because I love my husband. Okay. Why are you taking care of your kids? Because I love and I value my children. Okay. You're not doing it because you have to do it because you're the woman in the family. Like, if that's why you're doing it, well, your how is. We always said there's the what and the how are two different things, right? What you do is one thing, okay? I'm the wife, I'm the mother, I'm the caregiver. How you doing it? Are you doing it with the ease of mindfulness behind it? Doing it because I value and I love my care for my. I was actually talking to somebody, the person I was talking with today. This is one of the conversations that came up. Like, are you doing this because you value it? Yes. I go, well, then you're doing it because you value it. And you, even if it sucks at times what you're doing, and it's hard and it's laborious or it's overwhelming because you get a lot of things coming at you at once, especially as a mother, right? Kids and family. Everybody's, hands on fire. Right. Everybody needs something. But you're doing it not because it's my job as a mother to do it, because your feet are in cement with that. The other one, it's like your feet are in sand and they're constantly moving. You're never stuck and you can constantly flow. So yeah, that was just something that stuck in my head. And I was like, you know what? Like, how do I get this out? How do we tell people, like, be wary of the...
So I think...
this is where Henry usually cleans up what I say.
Right. Yeah, this is what I do. I come in and mop it up. No, but so let me begin my point by saying this, that we are always admit, and we're an open book as to how we push and profess mindfulness because of the effects it's had on our lives and the effects on the lives of people that we know that employ this train of thought. So mindfulness, we have talked about it, especially in the first year that we started this, is very much like Bruce Lee, where it lets you be like water.
I love that meme, yeah.
So mindfulness lets you be like water. And so knowing that in the background, there is also, and I bring up a word we use a lot, utility, in the stereotypical, or, let me use a better word than stereotypical, because stereotypical has a negative connotation. So classic, traditional. So there's something...
I like that.
There's something with great utility about the classic role of a man and woman, the hunter-gatherer model, where the hunter goes to hunt and the woman goes to gather, and the guy comes back dragging a bison, and the woman's like, okay, we're good, thank you, and I'll cook the bison along with the berries that we picked up along. Yeah. So that classic model works because it's two parties doing something that they're both good at for the better of the family, the unit,
and everybody's going to benefit. You have the kids that are eating, everybody's sustenance, there's life happening. Good. But we're in 2025.
Fast forward 2,000 years, 3,000, 4,000.
And in 2025, as you say all the time, there is no tiger chasing you.
No.
There's a whole...
Not foraging for food anymore.
There's a whole nother dynamic happening. And by the way, not only is it new dynamics, but it's changing and fast and just every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So if you're not attached to that traditional role, you're going to be much more fluid in adjusting. Now, take it to the real world. You lost your job. You're the guy. Or you lost your job and you're the woman. You can sit there and feel like a failure, which I know you probably do for a split second, but you have to be like Wata, because at the end of the day, your family needs you. And not your family needs you to be a man. No, that story's in your head. Your family needs you.
I love this.
The person, and yeah, everybody needs sustenance. Yeah, but on top of not providing, you're also not there. So you're adding double, triple, quadruple whammies.
Because you're caught up in the story that's
right.
That you must be a certain way. Absolutely,
mindfulness allows you the flexibility. Like you said, I'm not in cement. I'm in sand. I'm chilling. Like I can run here. I can.
You can move. Yeah,
right.
It's pliable.
Fake right, go left. If you are anchored in traditional roles, you don't allow yourself, or even your spouse, or even the rest of your family, to have flexibility. And life is not black and white. So life is
gray.
Everything in the middle.
Gray. Yeah.
You never know. Your son can come home tomorrow and admit to you that he's had a drug problem for 3 years. Smack in the face. What's up? Now what? That's it. Loser. Can't believe I failed. You have the problem anyway. So
see, I love that. I love that.
And
that doesn't change. I'd say that all the time.
So you have
the situation's still there.
Yeah. So it allows you that flexibility. And again, that's why I said before I started even saying anything is that we are admittedly mindfulness pushers. And the reason we push this and we profess this is because this life right now, it seems like every year we talk about it, it just amplifies. It just gets tighter, tighter,
quicker and quicker too.
It's like somebody screwing a screw really tight until pop.
The head pops off.
Right.
Yeah.
Until something pops.
I like that. Yeah. That's a story for another day.
And so again, we discovered this, which allows you to surf what's going on. You're surfing what's going on, but you're not exactly, let's say, anchored. You can go here, you can go there. You lost a job? Okay, well, let's go look for another one. Yeah, it's easy for you to say. No, it's not easy for me to say. I'm living it. Like I've been through this. And you have to find yourself. You have to find your footing, because if you don't find your footing, forget the job, but forget everything around you. And everything will just come crumbling down, because it was all here. It was that structure was here where I'm a failure. I can't do this. I can't do that. It's this cycle that you enter that you can't get out of because you don't have the awareness. Awareness helps a lot. I admit here on camera, I had a situation with myself where I caught myself, because I always point to this
helicopter view.
I was aware that I was doing something that I didn't really want to do. But I went down that road, honestly. I went down that road very organically, like obviously, but it's probably going to go the wrong way. So chill. Awareness lets you see that where, again, I'm not fulfilling my role as a man. Why do you say that? Like, what's your role as a man? My wife has to work. Okay, well, the unfortunate reality today is that most wives work. It's okay. Like, why'd you put all that stress on yourself? It's okay.
No, because society has said this is how it must be. I must be the provider of the family. I must be the alpha. I must be, I love that word too, the alpha. Like it's, and I get it. I understand what it means. I get the utility of the word and how it plays into certain aspects of life. But again, like the question we asked before, when does that label cause you more pain? Is it more of a detriment than it is a help? Like, is it like, I know for me personally, that has never been a motivator. Like, be a man has never motivated me. Like, zero motivation. My love for my family, my love for the people around me has been my motivation. Like, be a man. I'm like, fuck you. I don't care if you think I'm a man or not. Whatever. That's fine. I've never been an alpha. My whole life I grew up, I wasn't an alpha male growing up as a kid. I don't know what you call them, beta males, whatever you call the step down. I wasn't really the alpha of the group. I never had a want or a need to be the alpha of the group. And maybe because that was my path was intended for me not to be that alpha, right? Okay, whatever.
I'm going to be honest with you. You may not have seen yourself that way, but I was in your friend group and I always saw you as the alpha dog. But you see what I'm saying? Everything
yeah,
is
I never
depending on the optics.
on the optics. That's true.
And you asked me why. Just this guy's not only does he have it together, not only is he running a company, he's running the team. He's running like this guy is another level. So
look where it got me.
Right. So for me, and I say that because you didn't have the camera pointed at you.
Yeah,
your camera was this way.
Yeah.
So you had your own story.
Yeah.
But I had my story of you.
Of me. Yeah.
And everybody else around you be like, oh no, who's in charge? This guy right here, bro. That's the alpha dog. He's in charge. And you were in charge. So it's funny how you thought that about yourself, but in reality, I thought the opposite of you.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot.
That's and yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
That happens a lot.
That does happen a lot. But hopefully, my need to not be, maybe better at what I did to do whatever, was going on back then. And I appreciate that. But yeah, just that whole term, you got to ask yourself a question. Is it really helping me? Is it needed for me do I have to embrace this mentality to be successful? And successful doesn't mean, by the way, X amount of money, X amount of assets, blah, blah, blah. Successful means have I supported my family to the best of my ability emotionally, not just financially, but emotionally? Have I been there for them? Have I been a father? Has my presence been there as a father in my family, my immediate family? Have I done that? And what you were saying before, when you get caught up in that mentality of I must be, a lot of times you pull away from actually what's important in that family part is being present and there with the family. And I'm not saying if you're a working man, let's just say using the man as if you're a working man that, okay, you have to work, you're going to work, right? So yeah, there's going to be hours of the day where you can't be there. But if the hours that you can be present physically, practically, because you're actually there now, you're not at work, are you actually there when you're there with them? Are you present with them? Or are you still, like you said before, caught up in the story that I'm not enough of a man, I haven't been doing enough, and you're not present and connected with those people who you're quote unquote being a man for, right?
Yeah, because that structure that's there to give you a guidepost of what the traditional roles should be and how they work. Now they're used for either inflating my ego or deflating my ego. Because that's it. I'm either I'm either that or I'm either I'm not providing anything right now. So that's only there to fluff you up or basically crush you down.
Yeah, I'm a man. For me, it's an ego check. That's all it is. It's an ego boost.
So
that's all it is.
So instead of looking at that role as, hey, this is how families kind of work well together. Why? Oh, for a host of reasons. Well, because biologically the woman, doesn't have the muscle mass, the maturity. So the man who does have the muscle mass and the cunning instinct is out hunting, and
that worked
woman
back then.
who
Absolutely.
was and she's softer, so of course she's.
But that by nature that worked.
Right.
Then.
That's what I'm saying.
We've evolved as a society.
That's only good as a good outline. It's like a book. It's an outline, and then all of a sudden, how those chapters are composed to the pages, to the words that make up the pages, is another matter. It's a whole nother matter. It doesn't have to be.
So what if I ask you this question? And we've been talking about the family nucleus for a while now. Let's pull the man out of the family for a second. What about being a man? This is where I kind of wish Anthony was sitting here. What about if being a man, you're in a more toxic, violent environment? So like police, special forces, army, whatever, military, something like that, right? Where you're frontline stuff, even though women now are involved in the same exact things, right? But we're using the man as the example.
Less though, right?
Yeah, less, but increasing every year.
Oh yeah.
But still, you know, give them their dues. Absolutely, they're signing up to be out there. But so now, how do you process the application of that label to those people? Like, I would think most of them, and rightfully, and this isn't, and I'm not knocking them, right? I'm a big thank you for anybody who's military, cops, all you firemen, whatever you do. Anybody who puts their themselves in front of, you know, their life ahead of somebody else's is, you know, that's already valor to the 10th degree, right? How do they process that? Like, how does that I know the answer, but how do those people go to work and say, I don't need to play this role, but to have this label of I'm an alpha man while I'm here, but I could still, like you said before, I didn't look at myself as an alpha male, and you said you saw me as one. Let's just say, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How about that guy goes there and says, I don't need to be the alpha male, but quietly can lead them, his men, his team, platoon, whatever it might be, but without having to give himself that I am the man, but still be able to lead and orchestrate whatever needs to be done to keep them safe, whatever mission they're on, whatever assignment they have, whatever it might be, fire they have to put out, but without having to take that extra, because those are the people that when it's over and that's stripped from them, there's a suffering.
I'm gonna tell you
that is intense.
I've never been there.
Yeah, and neither have I. That's why I'm kind of envision it, but
it's a world that I think requires some of that, and I'm going to tell you why. As a leader of that, let's say of the guys, right?
Yeah.
So I think as the leader of the guys, there are times where the situation calls for you to do that, not because.
But do what? Well, you could still be assertive.
Assert your alpha dominance. Let me explain. Let me explain. So remember, we're dealing with a very unique situation. I'm not talking about the accountant. I'm not talking about, you know.
That's why I brought it up.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a very unique.
Poking the bear.
Right. Yeah. Very unique situation. Like if Anthony was here, I know he'd be like, he's right. Meaning, you know.
Love you.
I think there are times where you have to do that. And I'm going to tell you why. Not because you want to, but because your audience requires it. And the situation requires that. So if you were to give the audience who doesn't understand a certain language, but they do understand a certain other language, you have to, that moment,
say know your audience.
You have to, at that moment, like it might require a ferocious roar that you don't want to do because it's just not me. I'm not trying to one up you.
I agree with you 100% there. But you're playing the role of.
Oh, yeah.
But are you adopting the label of, and now you take it with you outside of the job?
Good for you. You
have
to
life.
Be aware.
You have to be aware. So I could easily play the role, like, you know, like the guy, you got to play the role of that. Like, you know, yes, I must take charge right now. I'm going to take charge, everybody, but whatever it might be, if fire captain or police captain or the head of a platoon, whatever it might be, sure, that person needs to assert their dominance in that. But I'm playing the role of asserting my dominance here right now because this task needs to be accomplished, right? And I'm the veteran. I'm the most, you know, whatever, higher level. I'm the one who's you're gonna follow my lead. Okay, absolutely. Playing the role, like you play the role of a father in the family, you play the role as that leader, that captain, that head of the team, taking us in. Absolutely. But when that is over,
sure,
does that label follow you
Right.
out? I am the alpha. I am the captain. I am the captain. I must be this man at all times.
If you bonded to that role,
exactly,
that's where
and that's what this whole episode is around. Actually, the last 98 episodes are around. If you've bonded with that identity, you get a lovely package or a gift called suffering. Whether you want it or not, it's going to be there. But if you don't bond it and you learn how to play the role of and put the role down when it's no longer needed, well, then you don't suffer, because then when you're walking on the street, that's not who you are. You're not portraying that to the lady in the bank. You're not portraying that as you walk down the street. You're not portraying that in every conversation you have, right?
not only that, it allows you to, even the person that you just ripped their head off, it allows you to be human with them in another setting. For
Absolutely.
example, if you were bonded to that person, meaning that the character, the role you're playing, that person that you just ripped their head off or whatever it is that had to be done, you can approach them later on with the goodness of your heart because you were playing a role at that moment.
Yes.
So you go clean of spirit. That person may not be receptive because they're probably in their own,
you can't help if the person's
in their own
receptive or
story.
not. Yeah,
but it gives you that capacity
to do that,
to be able to do that. Because if I was bonded to it, I'd be I just had to rip your head off because I know what you did, and it's like it never ends. You know what I mean? Whereas, if a subordinate or a person that I'm in charge of or whatever, and I had to rip them, like I had to really give it to them.
You do it mindfully. You could still, like I said, you could still play that role of whatever male role it might be, from boss to father to
right,
civil worker to whatever, army, military, whatever it is. You could play that role that's needed in that moment, understanding that's what's required, but still walk away saying that's not who I am.
No, and
that's the part that I'm sure a lot of people, there's people who get it, but a lot of people still don't understand. It's not who I am. What do you mean? I'm not that label. I play when needed. I implement the role of that. Like, let's just say my wife went to work every day. She had a great job, my wife, and she's making crazy money. And I don't, okay. So, this is a job I don't like. It's toxic. I have the ability now and the choice that I could leave and go home and be a stay-at-home dad. And I have a friend who actually is a stay-at-home dad. Like, how does he process the whole, like, I know a lot of guys who, my job to make the money. Time out. So if you have a woman in your household who's making more than you, kudos, by the way, to the woman, good for you. If that's the choice she wants to make and she wants a career path, beautiful. Hopefully she's doing it mindfully and
right,
presence, and she's not gonna, burning herself out.
Right.
How does that male now adapt to, that's no longer a man? Well, in society's eyes, is that a man? In my eyes, yeah, you're a man and you're playing the role of a caretaker in the family, right, because that's what's required from you in this moment. But how do you digest that? And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there maybe don't agree with what I'm saying, but how do you, I know I would digest it. This is the role that's required right now from me. So you want to see how I'm going to quote unquote, how I fulfill society's definition of man. I'm doing something that maybe I didn't think I would want to do, but it's what's needed for my family right now. I'm being a man, right? Even if it means wiping diapers, cleaning diapers, mopping the floors, cooking, cleaning the house while my wife's working, 8-hour days, 9-hour days now every day. You're playing the role of now the caretaker. You're still a man, right? Aren't you? No? Of course.
And if that's your role, okay, then assume it well.
Or if you attach I have to be a man, I need to be, now you're doing that begrudgingly. You're doing it with pain.
And you live in agony.
In agony instead of living with ease. And by the way, enjoying and taking joy in what you do and being maybe a great caregiver to your family, a great person who could take care of the house, and great. You're playing your role in that family structure beautifully. You know, because I see so many men and women sometimes who struggle with these labels that they've been given, like, you know, mothers that don't want to let go, right? I have to be a mother till my dying day. And you will always be a mother to your children. Absolutely.
My wife is going through that right now.
Yeah, you'll always be a mother to your children. Understanding that role changes as you get older. Hey, I'm not calling moms old before I get like a knife thrown down the stairs.
Let me rewind. That role changes as your kids get older.
As your kids
not
get older.
You.
No, you stay young forever, honey. As your kids get older, that role changes. Thank you, Henry. You know, that role. Are you going to suffer that and say, oh, I'm not needed the way I used to be needed anymore? And now here's that pain. Why? Because you identified and you said, this is who I am. I'm a mother. I take care of the family. If I don't do that, what am I? If I made you, if I snap my fingers and I made you forget everything, your name, everything, who are you? You're still that presence behind it. There's still that awareness, never goes away. Yeah. You just lost all the labels. But then I went like this and they're back. And now here comes the pain and suffering again because now I'm remembering everything again. How about do you see the difference? Like how can your pain go away because you don't remember your name? You don't remember you have kids. Your name is now something else, blank slate. And then all of a sudden, I bring it back. And now you remember that you have 3 kids who are graduating college and they're not going to need me anymore. And 2 are getting married in a year. And oh my God, and what do? I'm stuck with this guy every day. And here comes here comes that because you're attached to that label. Instead of if you take it as I'm playing this beautiful role of a caretaker in my family. But when it's no longer needed, I put that role down. And by the way, a new role will evolve. A new role will show up. For everybody, there'll be a new role in our lives. But if you're not willing to let that first role die by the wayside when it's time for it to be put down, you're never going to see that new role as it comes up.
Yeah, honestly. So for this, I have plenty of advice. I'm living through it right now. Let's just say my audience is not exactly receptive, but I
understandably, I mean, I get it, right? We understand.
I reframe a lot because I can sit here and wallow in the mire with you, right? But I refuse to just sulk about it. Flip the script. We did a great job. Look at them.
That's a Bob Proctor reframe.
We did a great job. Look at them. We're always here if they need us. That's what you want. You want the eagle to fly. Fly. Get out. Go fly.
So many ways to look at it. Yeah.
And then, remember us? Let's start dating again. I would, let me tell you something. If I'm talking to my wife, if I watch you walking down the street
right now. You're talking to me. I was getting excited.
If I watched you walking down the street right now, I would approach you and try to pick you up. So let me pick you up again. Let me start dating you again. Like, you got to reframe and let's.
But that only happens if you're willing to let go of. If you're willing to allow this to die off as it's required to die off, and then allow that new flower to bloom.
You're 100% right. But I would even take a little bit of umbrage with the word die off because they'll always be your children.
No. I mean that old that previous role of because when they get older, you're not their caretaker anymore because they're self-sufficient. Yes, you're there if they need you. You're going to be there when you have grandkids someday, hopefully, and absolutely. But you're not a caretaker. You're not their caretaker anymore. Now you're a support system for them.
This is where
you evolve into a support system. Okay, great.
This is where awareness is crucial because imagine a world where your kids are older, they're at home with their spouses, their own children, and yet John's mom is calling him. The kid's 32 now. He goes, "Did you take out the garbage? Did you get? Mom, I got a wife for this." But did you make your doctor's appointment?
I got a wife for this.
Did you make a doctor's appointment? The pain you had in your knee, did you go get it checked? Did you eat your lunch? What'd you have for lunch?
Yeah, that's not. It's that person is holding on to that, thinks that they're
doing a good thing.
Well, by the way, they're in pain while they're doing it. but you're really, it's, by the way, it's a pain on both sides actually at that point.
Right.
You know,
it's that awareness where you say there are stages in this life, and
you allow that stage to pass.
And let it pass and clap. Round of applause.
Yeah. Whether you're a man or a woman, right? You're female or you're male, you're playing the role of husband or wife, father or mother, whatever it might be. That role is going to change. So don't get fixed to a label that it must be like this always, because the day's going to come where that label is going to be fucking ripped off of you, whether you like it or not, and it's going to be tossed wayside. I am not going to be the supporter and the alpha male in the family. At some point, it's already started to change, right? My son could pretty close to kicking my ass if I got into a fight with him.
Pretty tough.
Right? So we're not.
He's stronger, flexible, faster.
He listens to this. I still take you out, but like it's evolving and changing already. So if I'm affixed to it, has to be like that. It's gonna hurt the whole way. On top of all the other, like we said in the beginning of the show, the suffering that we allow to be there because we feel things must be a certain way.
Yeah.
But if we just understand that if we don't put a label at all, the evolution is seamless, because I was never that thing. I was playing that role, but now my role's changed.
It was what was needed.
But it's like you said before, like Bruce Lee said, be like water, right? If you're like water, you will evolve and flow. The water's going to flow into the mother role. Now it's going to flow into a grandmother role maybe someday. I'm going to roll from the father role. Maybe it's going to roll to a grandfather role. So or not a grandfather role, just a supporter role for my children, right? Or whatever it needs to be. But that only happens if I allow it to happen and not still always hold on to, I'm the father. I'm the, everything still goes through me. Everybody. No, what benefit is that to you? I mean, I see angst, suffering, and pain in that more than anything else. But instead of, I hate the word let go, because people go, well, how do I let go? Yes, I know. We use that term in a different way, right? They say letting go of what was to allow, what's going to be to come. And it's just an easier process if you're not attached to, I have to be like this all the time. Like, this is what I am in this family.
And I got to tell you, I have front row tickets to this stage of life where, the birds are flying out of the coop and all that stuff. And I'm only going to say in a negative connotation, because I love my wife and I don't ever want to ever be separate from her. As a matter of fact, I want to marry her in the afterlife as well. We belong together. That's how, like you and your wife, we're tight.
Yeah.
So for me, as far as I'm concerned, we're going to start dating again. So, I told you I have that frame. I've heard several, in the past few years, several couples, and some of them that I know, some I didn't know, they went Splitsville after 20 something years of marriage. And I heard the reason. It was like, because the kids were older and they were done. They had nothing else.
Because that role was done and they didn't know how to evolve into something else. Yeah.
Who are you and what are we doing here?
Why? They were so attached to those roles they were so attached to them. Not that they were playing those. They were so identified with those roles that as long as the roles were needed, we're okay. The roles aren't needed anymore. Now what? They didn't know what they were besides those roles. They had no idea.
Yeah.
So they figured we can't be together anymore. That unfortunately happens more often than not.
Honestly, I see that and I go, oh my God, the only reason I feel that way is because I love my wife, and I know she loves me. So I know we have a very good bond. So I can't imagine life without her.
Yeah,
so
you can't. Yeah.
I'm looking at what's going on. I'm like, oh my God, such a pity. But then again, I'm not there. Maybe it's a good day for them.
Again, right? So we don't want to be. We don't want to create a stereotype either.
Maybe it's a good day for them.
It could be. It was a toxic environment, and that's probably, it might be the best. But everybody who that happens to, and unfortunately, 50% of marriages end in divorce. Everybody who that happens to, like, if you're seeing it after the kids leave the house, it's most likely one of the main reasons is an attachment to this label that they thought they were. Now, once it's gone, what am I? What am I now?
Yeah.
They don't understand that hold on, you evolve into something else. Might feel awkward in the beginning. There's a shifting in it. There's an evolution part of it, which could be awkward for some. It could be pleasant for others, right? Everybody's different depending on the situation. But if you allow that evolution to kind of happen, or that water metaphor to kind of happen, well, you're going to flow into something else, especially if there is a connection, a deep rooted connection. Right. But you see that Splitsville thing happen? Yeah, because what? I was the mother, you were the father. We were together for the kids. And now the kids are gone. Peace, we're out. It's like, well, the kids are going to understand, okay, well, obviously this was coming for a while, because I'm sure they didn't get divorced the day after we left. Right. But that's because both parents were so attached to this role that they were playing.
Yeah, it's easy to lose yourself. It's easy to
get caught up,
lose awareness of, hey,
life will do that to you. You don't need to work too hard at that.
Oh,
by the way.
That's
you don't need to work hard at losing yourself. Life has a knack of wanting to do that daily for you.
That's it. And so that is probably one of the biggest messages is the people you see right before you talking about how beautiful mindfulness is. The reason I know what I'm talking about, because just today, I can see something that I'm doing, but it's my awareness that catches me doing it. And I could correct course and not continue blindly until I don't even recognize me,
Because life will not stop giving you opportunities to lose yourself every day, not every week or once a month, every day, especially in today's society with how fast things move and how everything's in your face like this, like pop, pop. It's easy to get lost in it and get attached to a mental image, a mental thought, an idea that pops into your head, and there you go. Fly, fly, fly away. So
yeah, and this is also a big contributor of the skewedness that's going on. And I tell you, my wife is a teacher, and she receives a new crop of kids every year. So kids start school in September, right?
Yeah, September.
Right. Every September, the new batch comes in, and she's clean slate. So they don't know her. She doesn't know them.
Oh, yeah, new grade, yeah.
But she always reports back the same thing every year. Every year it gets more and more difficult. It's the behavior, the mindset, the humanity. It's being lost. And again, this is a big factor because
I agree, yeah. I definitely agree there.
Just overall, we were just talking about the traditional male and the traditional female roles, but the whole purpose of those roles is to create a family unit. It turns out that today the family unit is getting very taxed. And
it's at one point the family unit was tighter.
Right.
It's very loose now.
It's very taxed. So what happens is it tries to hang on wherever it can. So then you'll see non-traditional roles start coming in where the grandmother is now mothering, or there's a grandfather who's now the father figure.
Yeah.
Or whatever that.
Yeah, and every situation is different.
And so those traditional roles have some support that can sort of keep it together, but then you realize not everybody is like that. And now it's single motherhood, single fatherhood, something completely different. Now it's not even no mother, no father, just a grandmother who lives by herself. And there's a whole hybrid of situations. And it does affect kids. And every time and she gets a new crop, she can tell you it's more difficult. The attention spans are worsening. The behavior is worsening. What you call the empty eyes?
Yes.
The eyes are empty.
The lights are on, but nobody's home.
Right. But you do this, and they light up again. Because they're dopamine addicts.
Yeah.
As humans, we love dopamine. We search it, we seek it out.
That's what this will do. That's what labels in your life will do. That's what attachment identification does. It gives you a dopamine effect, right? That attachment to being that male, that alpha, makes you feel good, right? I feel good. I feel, wow. I was talking to somebody today. The person I was talking to today, her husband was there, and I was talking to him afterwards, and it came up like that grind to like very successful person has done very well for himself, but that grind to the next thing. I gotta go, and there's an attachment to that. I tried to explain it to this person. I was like, do you see? No matter what the thing is, there's always going to be something next.
You're not satisfied.
I go, you're not satisfied. I go, if I could snap my fingers, I said, and I could give you whatever you want right now, I guarantee you in a week, you're still going to want something else.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be happy again.
Yeah.
I go, because there's that, I mean, and this is kind of off topic, but it's that attachment to that male attitude gives you that that kick in the ass. Wow, this feels fucking good. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
But that only lasts for a little bit of time. And then where's my next kick coming from? And that attachment to that, it'll keep you more. I need more. And I need to stay now in this role at all times in order to feel like this.
And God forbid,
everybody around me must understand I am a man, God damn it.
But God forbid that structure ever fall.
And that's where those people suffer. That's where the suffering amplifies from a 9, from an 8 or a 7 to a 34.
Yeah,
God forbid it ever falls. So like, that's the dopamine is the part of that label, that attachment that makes you want to stay there. You know, even maybe you're struggling, but still you get enough of that kick that makes you want to stay. But if you understand, you could just easily just let that fall wayside and play those roles and enjoy the process of things as they evolve. There's a peace, something that a lot of people who attach those labels don't know what that word really means. Those people like that will say to you a lot, you know what I want in my life? I want peace. You go, well, it's right here. No. There's no way to look. It's here. Just let everything drop for a second. Don't need to be anything, and pay attention that it's already here. It's in you. It's there all the time. By the way, it's been there since you've been born. You didn't realize it in the beginning, but it's still there. It's always been there.
Yep.
I don't know. I like to say that. I think it was.
You just couldn't see it.
Yeah, you just couldn't see it. For me, that's like, if you understand that, enjoy the rest of your life. If you get that, salud, chindan. Shit'll happen in life, but you're still you're gonna flow it.
That's right. Yeah, it's a skill. It's a skill that will save your freaking life. It really will.
It will.
Yeah.
All right. So for these two men,
yes, traditional male alpha dogs.
Yes, woof woof.
We're gonna go upstairs and cuddle with Milo in a minute. my alpha Havapoo. Havanese poodle. The cutest.
He's half Cuban, half French. Well, that's a mix.
Poor bastard.
No Italian. I don't know. Hey, whatever.
Nobody puts up with him.
All right. So anyway, thanks for joining in, guys. Hope everybody enjoyed. Like, subscribe,
share.
If you like. If you don't, I can't make you do anything. Here's the book. If you want to read it, buy it. I've gotten lots of compliments on it. It helps. I don't know. Anything else?
I love you. You love me. We're a
happy family. Barney. All right, guys. Have a great week. We will catch you next time. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Boom. The insights and discussions that we speak about on our show are our own opinions and based on our life experiences. If you or someone in your family or someone you know is suffering and in need of help, please get them that help through medical attention or seeking proper therapy. Again, what we speak about are based on our experiences and not intended to be taken as a form of therapy. Thank you.